A marvelous sun looked down from the sky on the way of destiny, perfection home. God, everlasting day, surrounding her, domain appearance of her sensitive life, invading all nature with the absolute joy. Beneath a trickling mystic heaven, the seven immortal earth where sublime home of blessed release from death and sleep, where it can never come. On the gleaming ridge, whose lines were graved as on sapphire plates, and etched the borders of heaven's lustrous noon, climbed like piled temple stairs, and from their heads of topless meditation heard below the approach of a blue pilgrim multitude, and listened to the great arriving voice of the wide travel hymn of timeless seas. In cities cut like gems of conscious stone, and wonderful pastures, and on gleaming coasts, bright forms were seen, eternity's luminous strides, above her rhythming the Godhead's world, the spheres, rapt mobile fixities, here blindly sought by the huge erring orbits of our stars. Immortal harmonies filled her listening ear, a great spontaneous utterance of the heights, on Titan wings of rhythmic grandeur born, poured from some deep spiritual heart of sound, strains trembling with the secrets of the gods. In the harmony of an original sight, she saw all nature marvelous without fault. Endless aspired the climbing of those heavens, reeve upon reeve received her soaring view. Immune she beheld the strong immortal seas, who live for a celestial joy and who the middle regions of the unfading ray, great forms of deities set in deathless stars, eyes of an unborn gaze towards her lead, through a transparency of crystal fire. The golden bosomed Aspara goddesses, world linked in moonlit heavens of heart, wind-haired gondolas chanted to the ear the odes of that shape, the universal thought. The lines that tear the veil from deity's face, the rhythms that bring the sounds of wisdom's seas, worlds of an infinite reach, crowned nature's stir, sunlit the soul's vision, and moonlight its dream. Into those heights her spirit went floating up. A secret splendor rose, revealed to sight, where once the vast embodied void had stood. Night, the dim mask, had grown a wonderful face. The vague infinity was slain, whose gloom had outlined from the terrible unknown the obscure, disastrous figure of a god. As if the gory calyx of a flower, aerial, visible on music's waves, a lotus of light, petaled ecstasy, took shape out of the tremulous heart of things. Death's somber cowl was cast from nature's brow. There lightened on her the Godhead's lurking love. All grace and glory and all divinity were here collected in a single form. All worshipped eyes looked through his from one face. He bore all Godhead in his grandiose limbs. In him the fourfold being bore its crown that wears the mystery of a nameless name. spirit and seer and thinker of things seen, Bhavan, whose light his campfires in the sun, and the star-entangled ether is his hope, expressed himself with matter for his speech. In him shadows his form the golden shine, who in the sun-capped vast cradles his birth. Hiranyagarbha, author of thoughts and days, armed with the golden speech, the diamond eye, his is the vision and the prophecy.
Good morning. So we're reading in Book 11, the Book of Everlasting Day, the soul's choice and the supreme consummation. So we've had a good review of the first part of the Canto by Mother. She had described in the beginning this world of the everlasting day, what appears to be perhaps the supermind or the realms close to it. She had seen there the gods overlooking the creation, and she had seen the Supreme Being who was described in her reading. And in him, all the gods looked out through his eyes. And she described his fourfold being, this Virat whose material form is matter, the matter of the universe, and then Hiranyagarbha, who is the master of the inner worlds. And then after that, she describes the Ishvara, and then the supreme transcendent being above. After describing him, she looks into his eyes, on page 683. Two looked upon each other, soul saw soul. And then begins this dialogue between them. And at first he speaks and asks how she has come to this realm of the light. And And then he begins speaking of this duality in which she and Satyavan are divided, he by death, he on the other side, she still in life. And he speaks of this kind of fundamental duality that remains. He says on page 684, towards the top, about 5 lines down, on the pale shores of foaming steely straits that flow beneath a gray tormented sky, two powers from one original ecstasy born pace near but parted in the life of man. One leans to earth, the other yearns to the skies. Heaven in its rapture dreams of perfect earth. Earth in its sorrow dreams of perfect heaven. The two longing to join, yet walk apart, idly divided by their vain conceits. They are kept from their oneness by enchanted fears, sundered mysteriously by miles of thought. They gaze across the silent gulfs of sleep. And then he uses this metaphor describing their division, like Tristan and Isolde on their nuptial couch, with this shadowy eidolon of a sword between them, dividing them. And then he says, you too shall continue, you Savitri and Satyavan, you shall serve the dual law, which only now the scouts of vision glimpse. So he says, you will continue, but you will serve this dual law and wait for time to unite these two aspects. Wait, patient of the brittle bars of form, making division your delightful means of happy oneness rapturously enhanced by attraction in the throbbing air between. And then he invites her at the top of page 685, but if you would like, you can ascend into this heaven and join Satyavan here, leave your body on the earth and ascend into heaven and join him. This towards the middle of the page, 685, she says, as Godheads live who care not for the world and share not in the toil of nature's powers, absorbed in their self-ecstasy they dwell. Cast off the ambiguous myth of earth's desire. O immortal, to felicity arise. So he invites her to ascend into this heaven and live with Satyavan. So that's where we left off. And now Savitri will reply to the god, and you may begin.
On Savitri. and day and night, tempting his heart with the far lure of heaven, testing his strength with the close touch of hell. I climb not to thy everlasting day, even as I have shunned thy eternal night. To me, who turn not from thy eternal terrestrial way, give back the other self, my nature asks. Thy spaces need him not to help their joy. Earth needs his beautiful spirit, made by thee, to fling delight down like a net of gold. Earth is the chosen place of mightiest souls. Earth is the heroic spirit's battlefield, the forge where the archmason shapes his works. Thy servitude on earth are greater, King, than all the glorious liberties of heaven.
Thank you. Let's pause. Savitri replies quite confidently, as if she's the equal of this supreme being. And she also embodies this divine bliss of the divine, a joy exceeding earth and heavens poured down. It's interesting how he puts it there. It's something above, a bliss beyond the day and night, earth and heaven, the bliss of an unknown eternity, a rapture from some waiting infinite, something still above, transcendent to these realms of heaven and earth. A smile came rippling out in her wide eyes, its confident felicity's messenger, as if the first beam of the morning sun. Again, she's represents the dawn of this new greater light beyond earth and heaven in the transcendent, rippled along two wakened lotus pools. Yeah, she carries something from above, from the transcendent, above earth and heaven, above these realms. We can perhaps think of heaven as the spiritual mind planes, where there is still a kind of division from earth. something above. It's full of light, but it's still divided from the material world. There is still this duality that's present. The light as opposed to the darkness. But from something above, even that, this bliss comes down. Mm. Yeah. This psychic realm, yes, it stands behind the psychic world. Yeah, I'm not sure if you could say it's transcendent, but in a sense, I think it is, that it represents something coming from the supreme divine into, but descending into the lower realm. Yeah. Mm. So this psychic world is where? Yeah, I know. But where would you say it's situated? I don't know. You know? Hmm? That it's transcendent coming down, lighting. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. Okay. But that psychic represents the divinity, something of the transcendent of the mother into the world. Yeah. Mm. So I think it carries something of the transcendent into this world in order to uplift it. So she insists then that no, I will not descend into this heaven. I remain here on earth to bridge this divide between earth and heaven. Well, yeah, she does. She will say that. She says that in the next passage. Someone who presents this kind of test and challenges. So in a sense here it is, he's besetting man's soul with life and death. In a sense, he's presenting the soul, the divinity, with these two kind of opposites. So she says, even as I have shunned thy eternal night, she will shun also this heaven. I climb not to thy everlasting day. And then she says, give back the other self, my nature asks. Earth needs his beautiful spirit made by thee to fling delight down like a net of gold. Earth is the chosen place of mightiest souls. Earth is the heroic spirit's battlefield, the forge where the archmason shapes his works. Thy servitudes on earth are greater, King, than all the glorious liberties of heaven. And then she will begin, as B says, about describing where she has come from. So let's continue with Helmut.
The heavens and moon silver swords, and heard the harping laughter of their streams, and lingered under branches dropping myrrh. I too have revelled in the fields of light, touched by the ethereal raiment of the winds. Thy wander rounds of music I have trod, lived in the rhyme of bright, unlaboring thoughts. I have beat swift harmonies of rapture vast, danced in spontaneous measures of the soul, the great and easy dances of the gods. O fragrant are the lanes thy children walk, and lovely is the memory of their feet amid the wonder flowers of paradise. A heavier tread is mine, mightier touch. There where the gods and demons battle in night, or wrestle on the borders of the sun, taught by the sweetness and the pain of life, to bear the uneven, strenuous beat that throbs against the edge of some divinest hope, to dare the impossible with these pangs of search. In me, the spirit of immortal love stretches its arms out to embrace mankind.
Thank you. Let's pause. So here she describes that she knows these heavenly realms, just as she had said earlier about Satyavan Thy spaces need him not to help their joy. Earth needs his beautiful spirit made by thee. So she knows these heavens. They were once to me my natural home. I too have wandered in star-jeweled groves, paced sun-gold pastures and moon-silver swards. So she's experienced all of that. But she is here for something else. She is on earth. A heavier tread is mine, a mightier touch. There where the gods and demons battle in night, or wrestle on the borders of the sun. So she's speaking of the earth, taught by the sweetness and the pain of life to bear the uneven, strenuous beat that throbs against the edge of some divinest hope, to dare the impossible with these pangs of search. In me, the spirit of immortal love stretches its arms out to embrace mankind. So she's come on earth to embrace mankind in the folds of the divine, to transform life here. Swards are like grasses of long grasses of plains. Mm. Mm. Well, it represents it. The physical sun, I would say it's the representation of the truth of the supermind in our material universe. Hmm? In some way it is. I mean, this Virat, he's made matter is kind of his body. You know? So in a sense it is. I mean, it's a form, let's say, of the divine. Yeah. So all of these kind of physical things that we see, the dawn, the sun, the earth, all of these are representations of aspects of the divine, manifestations of the divine in material nature. So let's continue. In me, the spirit of immortal love stretches its arms out to embrace mankind. So that's what Savitri represents. No? She represents this immortal love of the divine, reaching out to the earth and to mankind, to embrace it, to lift it up. Okay, let's continue.
Too far thy heavens for me from suffering men. Imperfect is the joy not shared by all. O to spread forth, O to encircle and seize more hearts, till love in us has filled thy world. O life, the life beneath the wheeling stars, for victory in the tournament with death, for bending of the fierce and difficult bow, for flashing of the splendid sword of God. O thou who sounds the trumpet in the lists, part not the handle from the untried steed. Take not the warrior with his blow unstruck. Are there not still a million fights to rage? O King Smith, clang on still thy toil begun. Weld us to one in thy strong smithy of life. Thy fine curved jewelled hilt called Savitri, thy blade's exultant smile name Satyavan. Passion to beauty, point us through the world. Break not the lyre before the song is found. Are there not still unnumbered chants to weave?
Thank you. Let's pause. So these first two one-line sentences are quite profound. Too far thy heavens for me from suffering men. Imperfect is the joy not shared by all. So she's not going to accept this life in heaven without uh, without earth, leaving earth behind, leaving suffering men behind. So she wants to encircle, enclose all of mankind into that joy. And then she says, oh, to spread forth, oh, to encircle and seize more hearts till love in us has filled thy world. So that's her aim, the aim of Savitri and Satyavan, to fill the world with that, with the divine's love. Well, I don't think she's referring so much to that vital pleasure and joy, but to this joy of heaven. So that joy is always there, available. We can ascend into these inner realms or these higher realms of divine bliss. But it leaves the earth as it was. It leaves the other people as they are in their struggles and sufferings. So that is a kind of an imperfect joy, an imperfect realization for Savitri. She wants to include all. So she's bending down to the suffering humanity to lift them up so that they also may partake in that joy of the divine, or to bring down that joy into the world. And then she speaks of life and its transformation, perhaps from that kind of imperfect pleasure or indulgence, what you might have been referring to, but to instead use that force of life for the winning of the divine in the world, for bringing the divine down, fighting God's battles here in the world against the opposing forces of division. And then she says, don't part me from Satyavan now. Our work is not yet finished here in the world. Take not the warrior Satyavan with his blow unstruck. Are there not still 1,000,000 fights to wage? This work has not yet finished in the world. It's reunification with the divine bliss. Keep us together, weld us to one in thy strong smithy of life. Thy fine curved jeweled hilt calls Savitri, thy blade's exultant smile names Satyavan. So together, united, allow us to battle this fight in the world to bring the divine here. Break not the lyre before the song is found. Are there not still unnumbered chants to weave? Like a smithy who creates, a sword in the fires. So she's calling him the King Smith. Huh? Hilt. That's the handle of the sword. So she likens herself to the handle of the sword and Satyavan to the blade. It is. The archmason, he's also the archmason. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Creator, kind of. Mm. Yeah, first he uses this one image of the sword, of the hilt and the blade being divided, but here he uses the song, the lyre. So let's continue.
O subtle soul musician of the years, play out what thou hast fluted on my stops. Arise from the strain their first wild plaint divined, and that discover which is yet unsung. I know that I can lift man's soul to God. I know that he can bring the immortal down. Our will labors, permitted by thy will, and without thee an empty roar of storm. A senseless whirlwind is the Titan's force, and without thee a snare the strength of gods. Let not the inconscient gulf swallow man's race, that through earth ignorance struggles towards thy light. O Thunderer, with the lightnings of the soul, give not to darkness and to death thy sun. Achieve thy wisdom's hidden firm decree, and the mandate of thy secret worldwide love. Her words failed, lost in thought's immensities, which seized them at the limits of their cry, and hid their meaning in the distances that stir to more than ever speech has won, from the unthinkable, end of all our thought, and the ineffable from whom all words come.
Thank you. Yeah, he continues with this musical metaphor. Here, speaking of the flute, perhaps a subtle allusion to Krishna. The stops, I think, are just pauses in the music. Yeah. A kind of, no, not, no, there's like a strain of music. It's kind of a thread of the music. Yeah, a string of music. Oh. Hmm. Oh, yeah. So in which? Hamlet. Mm. 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 Mhm. I'm struck by these lines. Let not the inconscient gulf swallow man's race, that through earth's ignorance struggles towards thy light. I mean, I think at one time during that Second World War, I mean, there was this danger of humanity failing, kind of, Sri Aurobindo said. We were kind of on the brink for a while of the darkness swallowing humanity into it. So he puts it in the context, this through earth ignorance, that we're struggling towards the light. Don't let it fail. And then an allusion also to the Vedas, I think Indra, O thunderer with the lightnings of the soul, give not to darkness and to death thy son. Achieve thy wisdom's hidden firm decree. He suggested that this, from the beginning of time, this was preordained that the earth would reunite, achieve the supramental life. And the mandate of thy secret worldwide love. Yeah, that is kind of a pinnacle of this speech. And then her words failed, lost in thought's immensitudes. Into the ineffable, from whom all words come. So let's continue. Have you?
Then, with a smile, august as apologies, as secondary heavens, the Godhead of the vision, wonder-fed. How shall earth nature and man's nature rise to the celestial levels, yet each abide, heaven and earth towards each other gaze, across a gulf that few can cross, none touch, arriving through a vague ethereal mist, out of which all things form that move in space, the shore that all can see but never reach. Heaven's light visits sometimes the mind of earth. Its thoughts burn in her sky like lonely stars. In her heart there move celestial seekings soft and beautiful like fluttering wings of birds. Visions of joy that she can never win traverse the fading mirror of her dreams. Faint seeds of light and bliss bear sorrowful flowers, faint harmonies caught from a half-heard song, fall swooning and the wandering voices jar. Foam from the tossing luminous seas where dwells the beautiful and the far delight of gods. Raptures unknown, a miracled happiness, thrill her and pass, half-shaped to mind and sense.
Thank you. Let's pause. I'm struck here of how similar this sounds to some of Death's own arguments. How he says, how shall earth nature and man's nature rise to the celestial levels, yet earth abide? I think Death was kind of saying the same kind of arguments. How can earth, this two-legged worm you call man, how can he become a god? Yeah, I'm not sure what your question or point is. Yeah. Yeah, the divine love is distorted in humanity. So perhaps how can that divine love be embodied here on earth? He's saying we can kind of touch it, but we can't really bring it down here. It can't stay permanent. That's his basic argument. Heaven's light visits sometimes the mind of earth. Its thoughts burn in her sky like lonely stars. In her heart there move celestial seeking soft and beautiful like fluttering wings of birds. They're all kind of faint and ethereal and above. Faint seeds of life and bliss bear sorrowful flowers. These touches from the light of the heavens, when they touch the earth, they turn to sorrowful flowers. Mm, mhm, mhm. But he's saying this, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she turns his arguments. That's why we need. So he's saying these beautiful and far delight of God's raptures unknown, a miracled happiness, thrill her, thrill the earth, and pass half-shaped to mind and sense. They come down, they filter down through mind and life and again become kind of gray and distorted. And so let's continue. Anand.
Above, no?
Above.
Thank you. So, above her little finite steps, she feels, careless of notes or pause, wells which wave out, a strange perfection beyond law and rule, a universe of self-found felicity, an inexpressible rhythm of timeless beats, the many movement heartbeats of the one, magic of the boundless harmonies of self, order of the freedom of the infinite, the wonder plastics of the absolute. There is the all truth and there the timeless bliss. But hers a fragrance of a star-lost gleam. Hers are the careless visits of the gods. They are a light that fails, a word soon hushed, and nothing they mean can stay for long on earth. There are high glimpses, not the last inside. A few can climb to an unperishing sun, or live on the edge of the mystic moon, and channel toward mind the wizard ray. The heroes and the demigods are few to whom the closing mortal voices speak, and to their acts the heavenly clan are near. Few are the silence in which truth is heard, and well in the timeless utterance in her deeps, few are the splendid moments of the seers.
Thank you. So he continues in this same vein, saying that we can feel, perhaps, get a glimpse of these divine delights, this divine truth above, but we can't hold it here. He says, there is the all truth, and there the timeless bliss. But hers, earth, are fragments of a star-lost gleam. Hers are but careless visits of the gods. And then he speaks, there's a great truth also in what he's saying, that these visits of the gods, of the divine light here on earth are brief glimmers that we get, and very few are the souls that can climb to those heights and to bring something down from those realms into our world. A few can climb to an unperishing sun, or live on the edges of the mystic moon and channel to earth mind the wizard ray. The heroes and the demigods are few, to whom the close immortal voices speak, and to their acts the heavenly clan are near. So I guess he's speaking of the heavenly divine forces are close to these beings, these few who can touch there. Few are the silences in which truth is heard, unveiling the timeless utterance in her deeps. Few are the splendid moments of the seers. Still on earth, these visits of the divine are very few. And he continues, and let's us continue being.
Heaven's call is rare, rarer the heart that heeds. The doors of light are sealed to common mind, and earth's needs nail to earth the human mass. Only in an uplifting hour of stress, men answer to the touch of greater things, or raised by some strong hand to breathe heaven air, they slide back to the mud from which they climbed. In the mud of which they are made, whose law they know, they joy in safe return to a friendly base. And though something in them weeps for glory lost and greatness murdered, they accept their fall. To be the common man they think the best. To live as others live is their delight. For most are built on nature's early plan and owe small debt to the superior plane. The human average is their level pitch, a thinking animal's material range. In the long, ever-mounting hierarchy, in the stark economy of cosmic life, each creature to its appointed task and place is bound by his nature's form, his spirit's force. If this were easily disturbed, it would break the settled balance of created things. the perpetual order of the universe, would tremble and gap yawn in woven fate.
Thank you. And then he speaks to us, I think, those who hear the call of the divine, and even of those few reply, few heed the call. So in general, earth needs nail to earth the human mass. And only in an uplifting hour of stress men answer to the touch of greater things. Or raised by some strong hand to breathe heaven air, they slide back to the mud from which they climbed. And the mud of which they are made, whose law they know, they joy in safe return to a friendly base. Hmm? Yeah, I think so. Let's see. They joy, yes, it's a verb. Take joy. So, and he's saying, this is the law of the earth. This is the law of human beings. They're created in this limited form, this limited mind. Don't disturb this, this balance, this poise. If you do, the perpetual order of the universe would tremble, and a gap yawn in woven fate. All of this is tied together. Don't disturb the threads and rip it apart. Allow fate to take its course. The pitch is the high or low notes. So a level pitch, it's kind of the average middle range pitch of sound. This is mankind in this middle realm, not going too high, not going low.
But it's all about surrender.
Mm.
But surrender is quite high when it comes to the low pitch.
Right. So.
The thing you just mentioned, young faith, surrender.
Yeah, if we surrender, we can surrender to that higher pitch. Yeah, that does happen even kind of physically. We may murder the saint who comes to bring the light, but also we weep for the lost delight when we fail to heed the call, when we turn back to the lower life. And so in that sense, that higher realm is murdered. So I think he's using it figuratively here, but it happens, kind of directly also. Yeah, this is the God speaking, the God of light.
And yawn, what is yawn?
It's an opening of a big gap. Just like the yawn, your mouth opens wide. Hmm? Hmm. So maybe I think we have to stop. Huh? Sorry for the last two.
A marvelous sun looked down from ecstasy's skies on worlds of deathless bliss, perfection's home. God's everlasting day surrounded her. Domains appeared of sempiternal light, invading all nature with the absolute joy. Arisen beneath a triple mystic heaven, the seventh immortal earth were seen, sublime, homes of the blessed, released from death and sleep, where grief can never come, nor any pain. Eternal mountains ridge on the gleaming ridge, whose lines were graved as on sapphire plate, and etched the borders of heaven's lustrous noon, climbed like piled temple stairs, and from their heads of topless meditation heard below the approach of a blue pilgrim multitude, and listened to the great arriving voice of the white travel hymn of timeless seas. In cities cut like gems of conscious stone, and wonderful pastures, and on gleaming coasts, bright forms were seen, eternity's luminous strides, above her rhythming the Godhead's world, the spheres, wrapped mobile fixities, here blindly sought by the huge erring orbits of our stars. Immortal harmonies filled her listening ear. A great spontaneous utterance of the heights on Titan wings of rhythmic grandeur born, poured from some deep spiritual heart of sound, strains trembling with the secrets of the gods. In the harmony of an original sight, she saw all nature marvelous without fault. Endless as far the climbing of those heavens, reeve upon reeve received her soaring view. Immune she beheld the strong immortal seas, who live for a celestial joy and whom the middle regions of the unfading ray, great forms of deities set in deathless stars, eyes of an unborn gaze towards her lead, through a transparency of crystal fire. The golden bosomed Aspara goddesses, world linked in moonlit heavens of heart, wind-haired gondolas chanted to the ear the odes of that shape, the universal thought. The lines that tear the veil from deity's face, the rhythm that bring the sounds of wisdom's seas. Worlds of an infinite reach, crowned nature's stir, sunlit the soul's vision, and moonlight its dream. Into those heights her spirit went floating up. A secret splendor rose, revealed to sight, where once the vast embodied void had stood. Night, the dim mask, had grown a wonderful face. The vague infinity was slain, whose gloom had outlined from the terrible unknown the obscure, disastrous figure of a god. As if the gory calyx of a flower air visible on music's waves, a lotus of light, petaled ecstasy, took shape out of the tremulous heart of things. Death's somber cowl was cast from nature's brow. There lightens on her the Godhead's lurking love. All grace and glory and all divinity were here collected in a single form. All worshipped eyes looked through his from one face. He bore all Godhead in his grandiose limbs. In him the fourfold being bore its crown that wears the mystery of a nameless name. Spirit and seer and thinker of things seen, Bhavan, whose light his campfires in the suns, and the star-entangled ether is his hope, expressed himself with matter for his speech. In him shadows his form the golden shine, who in the sun-capped vast cradles his birth. Hiranyagarbha, author of thoughts and dreams, armed with the golden speech, the diamond eye, his is the vision and the prophecy.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.